One, there wasn't anything new that he had said. Two, listening to that media review, it sounds like they are still reviewing the review. So what he has come to say, don't be surprised that they will come and issue another media review part two. And it's for a couple of reasons. There was nothing new in there. All of us knew a lot of the stuff he came to say, either they were ridiculous, they didn't make sense, or they will not fly. Let's start with the main, if you like, elephant in the room. In this case, is the fact that we have a massive debt overhang and a high deficit. And we know IMF is in town. Cost cutting has to happen. He did not offer any significant new measures. That means that we'll be prepared for IMF. If you listen to what he said, he basically says, we are going to start implementing the 30% cut in discretionary expenditure that they had planned. Now,
Hello, Conrad.
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yeah. Now I can hear you.
Yes. Okay. I don't know where you heard me up.
Yes, you're talking about cost cutting and cutting discretionary expenditure.
Yes. So the point I was making is that there's nothing new in this budget, in the sense that this 30% cut in discretionary expenditure is something they touted earlier in the year as part of the reasons they wanted us to allow them to get the e-levy. So all this budget has done is to put that back in as their main cost-cutting measure. Now, Senator, let's be honest, that is far from being enough. Why do I say so? We have a total expenditure of 137 billion, which he has now marginally cut down to 135 billion. So he shaved just 2 billion off. And of that 135 billion, only 22 billion is discretionary expenditure. The rest of 113 billion is not discretionary expenditure. And he's not proposing to cut all of that. He's only proposing to cut 30%. Senna, if you work out 30% of 22 billion, you are looking at something in the neighborhood of 6.6 billion. Right? That is even far less than what How will cutting just 6.6 billion make a difference of 135 billion? So you look at it from that angle and see that this is not credible. What is going to happen, Sana, is that these guys are still waiting for the IMF to come and force them on what they need to do. They do not want to take the hard decisions that need to be taken. When you start saying that we are in financial crisis and you are saying, okay, you are going to cut down fuel coupons by 50%, how is that going to make a significant difference? Fuel coupons, government's own figures is looking at about 80 million. You cut it down, you're only cutting 40 million. What is 40 million out of 135 billion? It's not even enough to be quantified as a drop in an ocean. So if you look at the fiscal consolidation path that he came to tout, it is wholly inadequate. It's even surprising that 4 months after they had announced this cutting of 30% in discretionary expenditure, they haven't started yet. And this is why I remember saying last week that this man's heart is not in recovery. He's looking to manage the pain we have, not to cure us of that pain. So from a fiscal consolidation perspective, we have not even started yet. I don't think that these guys are even clear on what they want to do. They tell us it's going to be a domestic-led policy, but this is hardly anything that you can call domestic-led, and it's not even enough. So from a fiscal consolidation perspective, I think it's not going to fly. Now, if anything, there was also a media review of contradictions, the most spectacular one being a complete reversal now of the so-called NAPCO. NAPCO was started as nation builders. Now they have scrapped it. Are they telling us they are no longer building the nation? That is a good question. Then they also told us they were going to scrap toll booths and use it for toilets. For some reason, this government seems to love toilets. I don't know why. Suddenly, those toilets are not coming anymore, and those toll booths are coming back. Now, what is even the biggest fraud here is government's view that one of the things they want to do is to have public-private partnership in developing the Chamamuto Way. And who does he cite as the private person to partner government? The Ghana Infrastructure Fund. Who owns the Ghana Infrastructure Fund, Senna? Government owns the Ghana Infrastructure Fund. So that's how does one arm of government partnering with central government become a private-public partnership initiative? So to be honest with you, this media review was just a case of smoke and mirrors. There's no substance in it. There's no credibility in it. And I do not think that this is going to put any confidence either in our investors or in the IMF. I'm sure the IMF will be looking this morning and saying they have a lot of work to do on us because we are not prepared to take the hard decisions that need to be taken, Senna.
Interesting some of the things you highlighted, especially considering the fact that the finance minister seemed to go to great lengths to suggest that we are developing a domestic program that's supposed to be take the lead in any IMF program. You're saying from what you've heard in the media budget review, they have absolutely nothing.
There's nothing there, Senna. Because if they have developed a domestic program and the cracks or the lead one in that domestic program is the 30% cut in discretionary expenditure, it's cut of only 6.5 billion. Senna, let me tell you, if 6.5 billion cut would have solved our problem, you know what? Our problem would have been long solved more than twice. You know why? If you go to paragraph 39, or actually paragraph 40 of the same media review, there is a clue there. And it tells us that the Ukraine-Russia war has actually given us almost 3 times the 6.5 billion they are seeking to cut. Why do I say so? We have what you call your petroleum benchmark price. That is the price that government uses to account for revenue they will get. Oforiatta himself tells us that when the budget was done last year, they budgeted to get $61.30 per barrel. As we speak, at media review, he has revised it up to $94.80. So there has been a whopping $33.2 increase, $33.60 increase in the price that we get for our petroleum. Now he says in that same element that the budget to get 58 million barrels this year. Senna, if you multiply that 58 million barrels by the extra $3.6 that we are getting, you get almost 15.5 billion Ghana cedis. You multiply it, you get about $1.95 million. Multiply that by the current exchange rate, and you are getting about 15.5 billion Ghana cedis. So if a cut of 6.5, that is the 30% of discretionary expenditure, is going to be enough, then this windfall that we have got from this price increase in fuel oil as a result of Ukraine-Russia war, giving us almost 16 billion, should have solved our problems. So this is why I'm saying there's no credibility in it. Because on the other one hand, you say our windfall is about 16 billion. And then you say, oh, our problems will be solved if we cut this 6.5 billion. It doesn't wash. You know, it doesn't wash. The whole thing is like a scattergun approach. He wasn't clear on the exact revenue targets that will come. All we knew is that the 100 billion we budgeted to get, we will no longer get it. We'll now get 96 billion, which means we're losing 4 billion. He was not explicit in telling us that we have gained an extra almost 16 billion from the Ukraine-Russia war as a result of that war pushing up the oil prices. And he is not being honest in telling us exactly what cuts will be sufficient for the economy. This, what he has proposed, doesn't even qualify as sticking plaster. Let's be honest, Senna.
That's very worrying, especially knowing where we are headed to. Because recently, I think we're discussing the fact that Bloomberg says we are closer to debt default this year. But if you have 16 billion coming in, the minority is even alleging that the Bank of Ghana has gone to give us some 22 billion cedis in new currencies that have been printed, among others. Can those reverse that trend in any way?
It is going to be very highly doubtful that will happen. And this is the reason. When you have inflation at 29.8% and you go about printing more money, you exacerbate the situation. In our case, the inflation we have is because you have a shortage of various products. So when you have maize going up, it's because our produce hasn't been good. We didn't get enough. So if Sana, you and I have 1 cedi each, and the price of, let's say, maize, a bowl of maize, is 50 pesos, right? And you go to buy it, and I come along and tell the seller I want 60, I'll pay 60 pesos. You also say you pay 80 pesos. You see, we are bidding the price up. If you now decide to solve the problem by giving me more money and giving you more money, we are going to bid the price even higher. So inflation will go higher. So what the Bank of Ghana has done, printed money in the dead of night that Parliament is not aware of, which is illegal. Nobody knows where that money has gone. That money is going to simply go into the... It's not new money coming from outside. You see, the difference is that this 16 billion in the windfall we are getting as a result of the price increase in oil prices resulting from the Ukraine-Russia war, it is money, fresh money coming in, because we were going to sell one barrel at $61. We are now selling at $94. So we got an extra $33 from outside coming in. But when you are printing money domestically, it is not new money. It is the same amount that you are splitting into little bits. That's not going to help you in any way. But that is an illegal act, and it's just going to worsen our situation, Sana. So I don't think that that is going to help at all.
Conrad, thank you very much for speaking to us this morning.
You're welcome. Thank you, Sana.
Very interesting thoughts on the media budget review. So far, everybody I'm speaking to is not impressed with what they're hearing. Boachi has his own figure.